very good morning to you all. I hope you are well on this lovely sunshine-filled day. The weather is looking absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to head over to our settings and see if I can invite in Totally Beads. It says on Facebook that it's already on the go. So do drop me a comment and let me know if that's the case. It says I'm streaming. I usually have to add them in, but there you go. Please let me know if you can see me and hear me okay, and what have you been up to. It's been an absolutely beautiful sunshiny end of the week. Summer solstice yesterday, so we finally got a little bit of summer, about time too. Today I'm going to be doing some little components with you. So I've called them Gaia. They are little wildflowers, and I'm calling them a component because you can do all sorts with these. There's going to be enough in your kits. So if you want to make a necklace, a pendant, and a pair of earrings, there's enough for 3 for you in the kit. But you don't have to have them as earrings or a pendant or jewellery at all. You could have them as bookmarks or bag charms. Maybe you want to make a brooch with them. They are really straightforward to do. They're very kind of organic, so no two are going to be exactly the same, and I think that's quite nice. Even though they will be obviously symmetrical enough to be earrings, you can add your own twist to these as well. So I'm going to take you over to the website and I'm going to show you what you can get in your kit, and then I will come back and say good morning to you all, and I'll take you down on the mat. I've tried to higher my camera up a little bit more today, because I'm using quite a long length of wire, and I'm going to be getting my tools underneath. They're really not that tricky to do, but I've not been able to have a practice where I'm underneath the camera, so do bear with me, and I apologise in advance if I slightly go out of shot. In terms of your tools, if you have a 6-step bail making plier, then I would advise you use this, but if you haven't got one, a pencil will do, or something small and cylindrical really. Wire cutters, I love nylon coated pliers just to kind of straighten out my wire. Chain nose, round nose, and if you wish you can use a little hammer and a block as well, but that's entirely up to you. So I'll take you over to the website now so you can have a little look at what you can get in your kits. As I say, it makes 3. So head over to totalybeads.co.uk, head into the video tutorial category, whichever one you fancy, or learn to make jewellery, and have a little scroll down. So it's the Gaia wire flower jewellery. I didn't really think about naming that properly, did I? I called it Gaia because it's kind of goddess of the earth, and it's summer solstice yesterday, as I say, so I think it's nice that we're going for a little bit floral and a little bit of a summery vibe. So you can see we've got 3 colours for you. You can have the silver with the blue. That comes with a mix of different blue toned seed beads, and we're using miracle beads as well, just so it kind of catches the light. Miracle beads have this lovely special kind of like chatoyancy to them, so a bit like a cat's eye effect, where it looks like there's a bead within the bead and it catches the light really lovely. So you can have the silver with the blue in the mix of the seed beads. We've got the rose pink wire with, of course, the pink colorway, and then we've got the gold wire with more yellow gold tones. So they're all £2.99 each, and this makes up 3 components for you. As I say, you could do all sorts of different things with these. So I'll head into the gold colourway for you first, and you can see exactly what we're using. So I've made a little pair of earrings with these, so you'll have those findings in your kit as well. You can, if you want, make a bail onto these, but I think just hanging it off a little jump ring is sufficient enough. And then if you want to add a little bit of weaving wire onto that as well, you can add extra seed beads on. You can wire wrap that onto a brooch, or you could make like rosary linking and dangle them as say a bag charm, whatever it is you want to do. So I'm using the 0.8, which is 20 gauge copper wire, nice and soft, nice and easy to shape. We're not doing any wire wrapping, we are doing kind of shape forming. We've got the miracle beads and you've got the Toho size 8 seed beads. I'm using the size 8 because they go on that 0.8 wire really lovely and easily. If you want to have a little look, you're getting a little mix of the seed beads. Don't worry if this is saying out of stock, they have been allocated to these kits. So we're using 3 different colours. I've gone for those kind of zesty warm tones, which I think will match lovely with that yellow miracle bead that you've got, which isn't showing up on your product list, but if I hover over, it looks like that. And of course I'll show you them down on the mat as well, so you can see that lovely kind of magical effect that it's got. So it's £2.99 and it makes 3 up, so you've got earrings and a pendant. This is your rose, a rose in rose. So they are lovely little kind of wire flowers, and they are very simple to do. And again, they're all going to be slightly different. I've made numerous ones up and each one comes out slightly different because I'm not following a particular pattern with that wire to add those details across the petals. I'm just going with the flow, literally. I don't know why I've got that magnifying glass a little bit stuck. I've had so many technical issues this week. It's been a nightmare. So if I scroll down here, you'll see those lovely, like we've got a galvanized pink lilac in the Toho size 8. We've got the silver lined amethyst. We've got a light amethyst, and we're using that lovely rosy gold coloured, like rose pink coloured wire, which is 0.8 or 20 gauge. So that is that one. And we've also got the lovely blue, which I think I'll probably demo for you today. They are quite quick makes. You can take your time. You can do what you want with them. So this is the silver colourway. If I show you how that lovely little pendant looks. So you can make a bail with these if you want to. There's numerous different ways you can attach your bead as well. I'm just gonna see where the mood takes me today. So that one is your silver, and you can see here we've got the silver lined light sapphire, metallic hematite, and the translucent black diamond. They've got like a bluey shimmer to them, I think, when you pair them with those other colours. And we've got that lovely light blue miracle bead in the centre as well. So in your kits, each kit is the same price. It's £2.99 and you're getting enough to make a pendant and a pair of earrings. But of course you can do whatever you wish with them. I'd just like to show you a little component, and you can have a little play about with them. Of course you can multi-buy as well if you want to, and you can mix them up. You can pick out those seed beads too. So if you think, actually, I don't want to use all of that colour, I just want to use that colour, then you can do whatever you want to. What have we got in the comments? Good morning to Phoenix. I hope you're well. Good morning to Jan. She says a glorious sunny Sudbury. Good morning to Rachel in a sunny bright Barrow. Hello to Edward. Good morning. Anna, happy birthday to Miss Camille. I hope you've had a lovely, lovely week. Good morning to Anne as well. She says, Camille says it's nice and sunny here today. Frances is in, Elaine is in as well, and she's watching on Facebook, so that's a good sign. Jan is currently working on a past make from a year ago. What are you making, Jan? I did the same. I found a ring that I'd started. Well, I'd done it, but it wasn't up to standard, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to rework that. And I noticed that I'd actually started it on like the 1st of June last year. I've got quite a lot of unfinished projects, but that's the challenge of a creative mind, isn't it? You start one thing and then you're like, oh, I'll do this instead. Good morning to Lisa. Good morning to Mina in the sunny Leicester. Lisa says these are so pretty. Thank you very much. Good morning to Trish. Mina is also hoping that Camille had a lovely birthday. Is summer solstice today? I thought it was the 20th. Is it the 21st? I don't know. Well, it's here anyway, finally. Good morning to Carol. Jan is doing the Nicole necklace. I don't know if I can remember that one. I've got an idea of two things that it could be. I can't remember what I named them. Good morning to Robin. She says, good morning, Lady Natalie. Hello to all my Totally Beads pals. We are in the middle of a heat wave here in New Jersey, USA, in the 90s. The last 3 days may hit 100 Fahrenheit over the weekend, but no complaints from me. I hope you're staying cool. Everyone's wishing our Camille a lovely birthday. If you've had a lovely birthday or a birthday and a celebration this week, I hope you've enjoyed it. Okay, I'll take you down on the mat. I am still on the browser that I'd rather not be, so phone's been playing up and overheating, so we'll see how we get on. Okay, so let me show you how these miracle beads work. Good morning to Sally. I hope you're well. She says it looks like a sunny day in Torbay. Not been out yet as not well. I hope you're feeling better. Peace and love to you too, Anastasia, and hello to Judith. So you can see if I, in fact, let me show you the miracle beads. If I just position that, oh, there's a delay already in my hands. Obviously the stuff on my mat, so it's struggling to focus, but it has this lovely effect which makes it look like a bead within a bead. You can see my ring light just bouncing off the center of that. They've got a nice size drill hole in them too, so they're really good to have if you're doing, I don't know, like macrame makes or whatever. And you can see we've got the mix of the seed beads in there too. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to form this little flower shape, really, how to form the petals, and then you can just be as creative as you want with the wire to make, you know, those lovely little details across the petals. And you can use those as sporadically or as full as you want. So you might just want to add one little bit of detail. You might want to do it on all of the petals. You do whatever you want, and then I'll show you how we can kind of create that shape. So if I put it to the side, you can see it's not flat. We've got that lovely tapered bit. Rachel says summer solstice was celebrated yesterday at Stonehenge. It was. And Camille says they make lovely pendants. Thank you very much. This is your lovely rosy pink one with all those gorgeous, gorgeous pinky colours too. So you can see no two are ever going to be exactly the same. I mean, you could try and make them exactly the same. I like that kind of organic, free form, really, with them. This one is your gold. I love the colour of the seed beads with this. So I've added kind of pinks, peaches, like a goldy tone to it as well. And you can do all sorts. I think they'd make nice little hair clips, to be honest. Of course, you're going to get your ear wires in them. But again, I've got a little base of a bookmark here. If you wanted, you could attach these on to whatever you like. I've done one there with a larger gemstone just to have a play around. You could add additional seed beads onto the ends if you wanted to, you know, use a little bit of weaving wire to wrap on as well, and you could make a bail with it if you wanted to, with a little wrapped loop. You could form, this is one I did absolute forever ago, just having a little play about. Thought that might make a pretty brooch. So there's lots of different things that you can do with them. I'm going to place them all out the way, hopefully, so they're out of shot. And we'll get going. So I'm just making this with one long length of wire. Now you're going to need at least 15 inches of the 0.8 or the 20 gauge wire. The more you have, the more detail you're going to be able to create. So if you wanted to add more kind of wraps around it, then use a longer length of wire, but there's going to be enough in your kit to make 3 at 15 inches, and I think all of these have been made using 15 inches of wire, but if you want to, you can play with a little bit more. I'm just going to start by straightening the wire out with my nylon coated pliers, just to get any particular kinks out of it, but you don't have to be, you know, very, very specific with that. You're also going to need a ruler, and let's go. So to start off, I'm taking my one long length of wire and I'm going to pop a little bend in at about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to use my chain nose pliers and I'm going to just straighten that end out a little bit. I'm going to be curving and forming this, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm doing it with my fingers. So I'm going to take my wire and about 1.5 inches up, I'm going to pop a bend in it. Now my wire is very long and it will be flailing around underneath the camera. So do bear with me. I won't be probably doing this as neat as you'll be able to do it at home, and you'll hear it smacking along on things. So I'm just going to put a bend in. So it's got 1.5 inches going horizontal, and then this long vertical wire is going to go up to a 90-degree angle. I'm then going to start to form kind of ridges or bends in my wire, which are going to later form the petals. So to make the bend in my for my petal, I'm going to use about 1/2 inch. You can make this a little bit longer if you want to, but I think about 1/2 inch works quite well. And I think that's all I'm going to need the ruler for now, so I'll move that off to the side. So I'm going to hold that at about 1/2 inch. Let me just check that that's still around the same. Moved it, so I'm just going to position it down a little bit more. And I'm going to bend over the tip of my chain nose pliers. Let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to bend this wire back. Now it is a long length of wire, so as I say, do just bear with me while I'm underneath the camera. I want to make sure that you can see it okay. So I'm just going to put that little kind of ridge in it. Don't worry too much about, you know, the shape of these. You can you know, you'll have a little bit of practice with it and you can take your time with it. Now I want to bend another one. I'm going to make 6 of these bumps in my wire. So in order to kind of get it level, I want it fairly level with this horizontal wire here. So I'm just going to pinch just slightly above where I want that bend to form, and then bring that wire back up again. So it's sitting fairly evenly. Camille saying this flower is similar to how I made the fantasy film. I was thinking of you when making these, and I did wonder whether you'd like one for your birthday, and then I realised you've probably got loads because you've been doing them already. Right, I'm going to bend that wire again, coming back down, but I want it again kind of in line if possible, so they're around the same size. It doesn't matter if they're not absolutely perfect, but by holding my pliers just above where I want that bend to be, it should line up fairly okay. It's very difficult to do with that long wire flailing about. I should have made a bit more room on my desk. So I've got 1 bump, 2 bump. I'm going to come in for my 3rd. So you can see I'm just lining up just slightly below the tip of the last bump. And then as I bring it round, they're fairly in line with each other. So that is my 3rd. Back up again. Just pinching it with my chain nose pliers and bringing it back down with my finger. So when I take my time with these, I can get them almost perfect in terms of the spacing between them. But as is nature, things aren't always perfectly symmetrical. Just bringing it back over. Held that at a bit of a funny angle, that one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my last one will go up, pinch with the chain nose pliers, and bring that back down. So I should now have 6 little bumps. Have held it at an angle, so they have slightly staggered, but it doesn't matter too much. I'm now going to bring that end of the wire again even with the starting wire, so that it's running horizontally, and it looks like this. And now I'm going to start to shape my petals. So when I've got my 6 bumps, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my veil step making pliers. If you want to, you can use a pen or a pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it into the first bump. So my first bump's here. I'm going to just place it around the chain. Oh no, I'm not. I've missed a step. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to pinch these ends together a little bit, because that's going to give me that nice tapered shape. So go back a step and I'm just going to pinch these in. They don't have to be fully closed. Just want them to kind of pinch in a little bit at the end, like that. Don't worry again if things kind of move out of line and whatnot. You can shape it again with your fingers. So I'm now going to position it around the first bump. So I'm going to pop my veil step making plier in, and I'm using the largest kind of space on it at the bottom. And then I'm going to just hold it in place with my finger and my thumb. And with my chain nose pliers, this is why I'm saying it is not too tricky to do, but obviously doing it under the camera isn't always helpful. I'm just going to pinch that around there, if you can see. And then just move that wire back out of the way. So I've got my first little flower, and then I can bend that in this little space back towards the next petal or the next ridge. Again, pop in the veil step plier or my pencil or whatever I'm using in, pushing it down with my finger just so I can catch those end bits with my chain nose pliers. Take your time, make sure you don't get your fingers. So if you can see, I'm just pinching it around there. And that is creating my next petal. So I will just bend them in together. So it looks like I've got like little bunny rabbit ears. Pinch that next one in before I move along with the next one. And I'm just going to do that with all of them. So kind of hold it in place. You can shape it round with your fingers. And don't worry if you do kind of move the other one out of shape that you've just done, because you can adjust again afterwards. Give it a little squish together. So using the 20 gauge 0.8 wire and using a copper wire, it is, I think this is dead soft. You can get them in different hardnesses. So I will find this is a great one to use because it's very malleable and you can shape accordingly. And then if you need to add a little bit of strength to that, you can always hammer it as well. Just be careful if you're using a coated wire when you're hammering, because obviously you can take some of that coating off. In with the next one. So I'm just pushing it down around the pliers so I can get that rounded shape. Try and hold it so you can see and not knock the camera like I've just done. Bear with. Sorry. Can we just bounce back in? Let's see. Sorry. Good morning, Kath. I hope you're well. Camille's giving me a heart and a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Not going as I'd have liked with the whole camera situation, but technology is not my friend this week. I've had so much trouble with my settings. Let's try again.
Let's see. Right. So if I position it
and just get my chain nose pliers. So I'm just pinching the ends of that wire together and just giving it a little squeeze around the bail step. And then I'm doing that to all 6 of my bumps, and that's forming that petal shape. So again, position. I go around the largest one to begin with. You might find using a pencil is easier. I just like the size of the petals that this creates. And I'm just giving it a little pinch. So getting it in the groove around the plier. Rachel says Friday gremlins. Rachel, doesn't make a difference for me. I have a gremlin like every time I'm live at the moment. And this week, as I say, technology has not been my friend. So you can see here that if I bring these 2 wires together, I'm starting to get a little bit of that flower shape. Now to bind my petal together or to close it over, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch that up there, and I'm going to bring this smaller length of wire around my longer tail. So I'm going to just wrap it round and check where my shape is. Again, I can reposition this with my fingers so I can see that I'm happy with the shape that it's starting to take. And I'm just going to lock that in place. So I'm going to wrap that smaller tail around. And again, this is why it's quite nice to have the 0.8 gauge wire, because it's sturdy enough to create that frame. But if you're using 1mm wire, it can be really, a bit more tough to kind of wrap together. So I've just created that little wrap. I'm going to come in with my pliers and just tighten that down. So I'm going to lock that in place. I am going to be kind of misshaping some of my petals at this point. Don't worry too much. So you can see how this is, very free form. Just going to create that little wrap. You can wrap it round once or twice. Just want it tight, really. So I think I am going to wrap around again. But I am just mainly doing it with my fingers. I'll leave that sticking up for now. I will pop my bail step plier back in around that petal just to reshape and then close those up. So I'm just going to shape it with my fingers, position where I want it to be. I want the kind of little bits that go inside those original little curves. I want them kind of facing into the center. I'm going to close these up a little bit. So again, just going to tighten that little wrap around that flower or around that petal and bring those two in together a little bit more. So I've got more of a closed up shape. So again, take your time with it and get it how you want it to be. And so if you need to go in with your bail step pliers, you can use, the smaller loop just to kind of create that shape again. And then when you are fairly happy with how it's looking, if you want to add a little bit more rigidity and hardness to that wire, then place it on your block if you have one, and then you can just tap it. Now I like how that creates a little bit of texture on the wire as well. It will harden it, so you're going to add that little bit of strength, but this wire is coated, so you don't want to be too forceful. You can see I'm just doing little taps and I'm just doing the petals, and that I can already feel has made my wire much firmer. Now this won't be fully joined. You can see I've still got a little bit of wiggle, that it's not completely locked. But when we start to shape these wires in the detail, we'll lock that more firmly into place. Now you can add your bead onto the long wire and you can run that across, or you can add your bead onto the smaller wire. It doesn't matter which one you do. I'm not going to be cutting off any of my tail ends really. I'm going to be using it all for kind of decoration and shape across the petals. So I'm going to add my miracle bead on, and that's going to just sit in the center of my flower. Again, just going to reposition where I want it to be. And then I'm going to take the wire. So I've put this on the smaller, shorter length of wire at the moment. I'm just going to take that across. So it's going to lock in between the petals on the other side, opposite it. And that's going to lock it in place. And then I'm going to bring it back up. So if I flip it over, you can see the back. If I'm adding the bead to the smaller length of wire, then it will run along the back of the bead there. If you don't want it to, you can place it towards the side. But by bringing that wire over, that's kind of going to lock the bead in place and also join that flower up together. So you can add weaving wire onto it if you want to, but it's not necessary. You can just add that on. So I'm bringing that wire back over, and I think I'm just going to use my round nose pliers just to give that a little curl. So I could lock it right around this main wire again before I do. As I say, there's no right or wrong with this. There's no like set instructions as such either, especially when you get to this stage, because you can just do what you want with it. And because I'm liking adding those wire details, I'm not going to trim, I'm just going to curl, but I'm going to make sure that my curl is fully closed, so it's not going to catch on anything. So you can see I've just added that little bit of detail there. Now I'm going to take the longer wire and I'm going to start to bring this around the bead. So I'm just going to curl that in, like so. And now I'm going to just start adding on my seed beads. So you've got 3 colours of your seed beads in your kit. Good morning, Sheila. She says she's late. She's having terrible trouble trying to find us on Facebook. And she's not sure what the trouble is. It's possibly just me, Sheila, being cursed with technology lately. We are doing the Gaia wire flower pendant and earrings, but they are just little components. You can do whatever you like with them. So I'm getting out my size 8 seed beads, and you've got a mix of colours in there, so you can choose whatever ones you want. And you'll see by using the size 8 seed beads, they just slide very, very easily onto the wire. So I'm going to start off with one colour. We're just using one length of wire. Ooh, I think Camille's going off for a birthday lunch. Have a lovely, lovely time. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping that wire around the centre bead just to frame it really. And then you'll see I'm just going to add those seed beads on as well. So I'm going to have the seed beads kind of frame the centre of the flower. So I'm just pushing it down. And then I'm going to lock it in place by bringing that wire around the back of the petal. And then I'm just creating some shape with my finger. So you see I'll use my finger just to curve it, and I've got a long nail there, so you could use your finger or your nail just to kind of run some detail across the leaves. I'm going to add some more seed beads. This time I think I'm going to use the darker hematite coloured ones. I'm not putting them on in any particular order. I'm just seeing how it looks. So they'll be nice and organic, kind of free flowing. When I'm wanting it to stay in a particular position, then I'm just going to lock it around the wire. So I'm wrapping it around the frame, around the tips of the petals and in between the petals. And what that does is that's kind of firming up the frame, so locking it kind of in place, and adding a little bit of detail onto it too. I quite like it where the wire stays inside of the petal. You know, it's not coming out around that other shape. So I'm just going to bend it over this way now. I'm going to add fact, I want my seed beads to sit here next and leave that as wire detail. So again, just bending the wire where I want it with my fingers. You can see I'm being quite forceful with this, but maybe because I've hammered it and added that extra bit of strength, my petals are staying roughly in place. I'm going to bring it over this way here. So I'm going to just smooth it out with my fingers. Again, the more wire you've got to start off with, the more you've got to play with when it comes to adding the decoration, but I think at least 15 inches will be enough for a little bit of detail and you know, your full flower. If you want, you can make like a bail or a wrapped loop using this tail end, which is what I've done here. I've not used any around the decoration. I've just, you know, kind of stitched on little additional beads, but I've just made a little loop which comes up the back there, so you could hang it as a pendant. But what I find is very effective is just leaving it as it is and then just adding a little jump ring onto the end. So I'm going to place 4 seed beads into that petal just to fill that shape. Again, I'm going to lock it in place, so I'm bringing the wire, just curving it round and holding those seed beads where I want them to stay between my finger and my thumb. I'm not really using any tools, I'm just using my fingers. If you want to get that tighter and pinch that tighter around the wire, then just take your pliers, your chain nose or your needle nose, whatever you're using, and just pinch that in around. And then I'm going to go and make a little swirl. So again, just using my fingers. If you want to, you can guide that with your tools. I think I'm going to leave the seed beads off this side, and I'll just wrap that round again across the next petal. So you can add as many or as little seed beads on as you want. I tend to find it looks quite effective if you just use a couple. So I've probably used 3 or 4 of each colour on that one. Didn't do all of the petals on that one. So I'm going to add more seed beads here. I think I'll do a mix. So I'm going to take a mix of the colours. I love these light kind of blue ones. I think they look lovely with the miracle bead. Dark one on. And I will get my camera back working. Nearly finished now. My phone is very much overheating. Come on, phone. I'm sorry about this. Thank you for being patient with me. I don't know what to do with the other satin. It just gives the most horrendous feedback. Okay. There you go. So I'm just going to finish off really. So each time I want that wire to kind of stay in place, I'm taking it around the frame of the flower or the tip of the petal. I'm not being too forceful with it, just guiding it where I want it to be. If I am creating any loops, I'm going to try and tighten it around the frame, just so there's nothing really, you know, that it can catch on. Occasionally, I might just run the wire back through the straighteners. Do you know, I think I might leave that there. So to finish off, I'm going to take it back around again. If you are finding it's, you know, it is a little bit harder on your finger, then use your tools, guide it with your pliers into position where you want it. I think I'm gonna finish with a curl or a loop. again, I'm trying to keep those curls close into the frame really. And then I can either tie it off, just push that down a little bit. So you can just tie it off onto the frame, or you can finish it with like a little curl, whatever you want to do. Just take your time with it, keep kind of flipping it round, seeing how it looks, and what you want to do. I think I'm just going to finish off by cutting. Again, I'm just going to guide it through with my pliers on my fingers. Yeah, I think I'll just cut it off there. So what I am going to do is I'm going to, just with my pliers, just flatten down anything, making sure there's nothing that will catch. And then again, if I feel like, you know, I've bent out of shape, I can pop my round nose back in, sometimes just by pushing it against the round nose or the bail step pliers. Can just create that little bit of form to it again. And then you'll see as I've been working with it, I've been pushing down on the centre, and that's kind of raised those petals up a little bit. But what you can do is you can take your round nose pliers and you can just curl the ends up slightly. You can curve them back out, and that just adds a little bit of additional shape and dimension to your component. Do bear in mind though that, you know, if you're wanting it as a pendant, you might want it to sit flat. I like it having a little bit of shape. And then all I'm going to do is just make sure that those parts where the petals come in are sitting around and underneath, so that they're kind of splayed out accordingly. And then I'm ready to add on an ear wire or a jump ring, whatever you like. So have a little think about which way you'd like your flower to sit. I think I quite like it that way. And then you can add your jump ring on, or you can add your ear wire on. Now I'm adding a jump ring on if I'm making it into a pendant for a chain, because it will sit nicely. So I'm just opening up that jump ring and I'm popping it through that petal there. I'm also placing it through a loop that I've made just accidentally. Have I got a chain to hand? So this is a little snake chain off Totally Beads website. They're really nice chains. They're just plated. Don't know whether it will fit through or whether I'll have to open the jump ring up. Open the jump ring up. So I can now attach that onto whatever I want. Just slide that in there. And now I've got my pendant. Or I can add it on to an ear wire, which will be in your kit as well. I've got one to hand, we'll use this one. Again, have a little look where you you want it to sit. You might want to make all three of them up and then have a think about which ones make more of a match. Quite like that up that way. So I'm just opening up the ear wire. Don't need a jump ring for this. That ear wire can just go straight onto it. and you've got a large statement T-ring as well. You could wire it onto a brooch back, you could do whatever you want, you could dangle them off a bag. So they're your lovely, very simply made flowers. Again, I think I think less is a little bit more, but you've got plenty of seed beads there. If I've just noticed that seed bead's starting to move a little bit, I'm just going to push it back where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to secure that loop down more. So just kind of run your fingers over it, make sure everything's flat. If anything needs a little bit of tweaking, just pop on your pliers, making sure, although it's got that lovely kind of 3D effect, it's, there's nothing that's gonna be able to snag or catch in your hair or anything like that. Phoenix says the flower will be good for wedding corsages combined with white roses or pale pink roses, etc., as a keepsake among the flowers, and brides something blue in their wedding bouquet. That's a lovely idea. Yeah, we've got 3 colours for you. We've got the silver with the blue. We've got the rose with the pinks. We've got these very, very, very pretty. I think these might possibly be my favourite. The gold as well. Each of your kit, it is Gaia wire flower jewellery, and they're all £2.99 if you would like to get the kit on the website. Of course, we ship worldwide. Sally says, sorry, I have to leave you. She's going the doctors, hoping that they've got magic potion to make her feel better. I hope you're okay. I think a few of you having a little chit chat. Anastasia says, Natalie, if some of you ladies know the answer, I'm in the USA, it's a good time for me to call the office. I've got some good, some things you would like to order. Yeah, it should be a fine time to call. It is almost, well, it's 52 minutes past 10. So yeah, there will definitely be somebody there to answer if you want to give the warehouse a little call. And if they don't, then you can leave a voice message or you can send them a little email. I hope I've not missed anything. Phoenix says something's very wrong. You've got clear nails and no fancy polish. Do you know, I was going to do them yesterday. I've got my twin cousin's 40th birthday tomorrow, so I'll probably do them later. But I'm off to sports day now. It's my little one's first sports day because he didn't have it last year because it was cancelled for the weather. But the weather's glorious, and I've lathered them up in sun lotion, and I'm hoping they don't make me participate. I might have to go and get changed just in case. So if you see me running about with an egg and a spoon, that's what I'm doing. Good morning to Erica. I hope you're okay. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I'm going to be back with you on Monday. I'm going to be making some lovely pearl necklaces with you, using little like chatons with a little bit of sparkle. A very easy bead stringing make, and I hope you can come and join me. So thank you so much for being with me. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing. Enjoy the weather. I'll keep cool if it's roasting where you are, and I will make sure, yeah, Phoenix, I put my sun cream on too. Take care, everyone.